All right, it's almost mid-January, and you might be looking towards spring. I know a lot of you got hit by snow you weren't thinking about, and you're already getting ready for that to be gone and start thinking about spring. But I got some bad news for you. Winter's not done with you yet. We got, check this out, weather.com, Siberian Express set to pile into January's shivering start, central and eastern states. And I got to tell you, it's not just that. We're up here in Montana. Usually when that jet stream comes in, comes down out of Canada, it kind of hits us first and then goes through the rest of the states. We're looking at -10 this weekend. And with wind chill, we're looking -30 to -50, depending on how high those winds get. It's going to be chilly. So we're here to talk about space heaters, how to add a little extra heat or some primary heating even to your house. Now, we use space heaters. We use them at home. We use them at the shop. I use them in the studio, and we use them in our RV. We got a lot of experience with them. We do a video like this every year and try to cover what the best is that's out there, maybe get you some good deals. Now, this video is sponsored by Dreo. Now, we're going to talk about more than just them. But they got this nifty one. This is a wall mount system. It can either go on a bookshelf or a wall mount, and they send you the hardware to mount it. Let me show you what it looks like. It's a pretty cool system here. So you're looking at, for $100, well, actually, it's $10 off with the coupon. Don't forget to clip the old, here, I'll show you down here. You got to clip that coupon. Make sure you do that. Amazon won't do it for you. Anyway, what's going to get you is you're going to get this system here. It's got directional vents on the bottom. It's got a nice little remote, and it's got an app feature so you can control it with your phone after you lose the remote, because trust me, we all do. But anyway, the remote looks like this. It's very basic, very simple, but it does what it's supposed to do. You can change the temp, high, low, medium, all that kind of stuff. You can set a sleep mode. You can turn the little light display on and off. You can set the beeps on and off if you don't want it to annoy you. But for $90, that's a pretty nice little unit. I love having that thing back there because it just blows down the back of me, keeps me nice and warm. We got a fairly big studio, and it's decently insulated, but we've been going in and out the doors, and it gets cold real quick. Anyway, this is one option here. Let's show you some other options if I can. So Dreo also makes this tiny little one. We've used one like this in our RV for the kids' room at the back. We got a bunkhouse RV, and the heat just doesn't quite make it. For some reason, it doesn't make it to that back room. And it can get chilly at times back there. And so we're looking at this just great little heat, no remote on it. Got all the controls right up front, or I say on top. Nice display. That's one thing I like about it. Easy to read display on this. And 1,500 watts. And again, with electric, you got to remember you can only pull so much juice out of a wall socket. So 1,500 is what you're going to see as far as standards. And most of these will basically run at half power or full power. Some of them will run anywhere in between. But 1,500 watts is what you can expect. And it's pretty good for a room or two, or keeping an area in a room warm like I do with this one. Now, what we got here is it's normally $40 for this little heater. And they get a 10% off coupon. That's going to knock $4 off of that. But they get a timer, displays, everything else. It's a nice little heater. I like it. It's great for that kind of like personal space kind of thing. Then they've got this new tower heater. And it's a good looking heater. And it rotates 120 degrees. That's not something you're going to get out of a lot of heaters. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But it's got 5 heat and fan levels, 8 safety protections, 25 dB. That's pretty nice. Great for an office, or like maybe even in the living room, you want to hear the TV, you don't want to hear the heater, that kind of stuff. That's $130. So you're paying a lot for the style and the latest up-to-date safety and features and such. But, hopefully it's going to go on sale. Maybe I can get them to give a discount code. If I can, I'll put it down below. We'll put links down below in the video details, so you can go check that out. Now, if you want a budget option, we got the Lasco oscillating ceramic tower heater here. It's got a timer, it's got a remote. It's 2.25 or 22.5 inches, gray black, 1,500 watts. It's on sale right now, 12% off a list, down to $65.99. Now, we had this heater in our RV. We used it a whole bunch. And when we set up the studio here, I needed a heater, so I just snagged it out of the RV. And as you can see, this is my Lasco, I think it's Lasco. Yeah, Lasco. This is my Lasco heater, and this one actually lives under my desk. Now, here's what I'll say about it. It turns on when you tell it to turn on, turns off when you tell it to turn off. It does have an oscillating mode, but the degree of oscillation is not that wide. I don't even think it's 90 degrees. It's more like a 47-ish kind of degrees. So it's not that wide a sweep. It does have a kind of a timer built into it. And it's got like heat levels. You can't really dial in the settings. And there's all like a light, in this segment lights up. It doesn't tell you exactly what the heat is. But it's also $67. So for $67, That's what you're going to get. Does it work? Yes. Has it lasted us a good long while? Yes. I have no problems with this heater. And if you look on here, 66,496 reviews. A lot of other people have been buying this heater, and they're pretty happy with it. Now let's talk about another form factor, radiator style. Now it's an oil-filled radiator style heater. It's got 4 modes of overheat protection, tip over protection, 24-hour timer, digital thermostat. These, honestly, believe it or not, are the best style of heater for efficiency, because they heat up that oil. Once that oil's heated, it just sits there and radiates and radiates and radiates. It's not going to get so hot if you bump into it. It's going to give you third-degree burns. It will be uncomfortable. If you got little kids, this is not the heater for you. If you got dumb dogs, this is not the heater for you. If you got cats, this is the heater for you. I'm a dog person. What can I say? Anyway, you're looking at $120, $10 off coupon, takes it down to 110. This was rated as one of the most accurate heating level heaters out there. So if you've got a big area and you just want gentle, continuous heat, this is the way to go. Honestly, a radiator style heat, whether you get this one or another one, radiator style heat's probably the best for that kind of situation. For me, I'm always in a situation where I'm popping in and I want the heat now. I want all the heat right now, which is why I go with that kind of style of heater. All right, let's keep going here. Then this is one my family's used for quite some time, and we had it in our living room. It died a year or so ago. The Dr. Infrared Heater Portable. This is like the original infrared heater. It comes with a cherry wood, outer case. Looks kind of like a piece of furniture, makes it easier to hide in the room. Can you sit a drink on it? Yes. Should you? I'm not gonna recommend it, but it's got good levels of protection, and Dr. Heater's got a great reputation behind it. You're looking at almost 26,000 reviews on this thing. It's 14% off, taking it down to $112.03. As I said, we've had a heater like this for a good long time. It's not too big. If you got a nice little side table, maybe it'll roll in underneath it. It does have wheels on it. It's safe to have around the kids and everything because the heating element is inside of it. So it heats up a quartz heater, and the fan blows over that and blows that air outside, so that way you're not worried about running into that front grill and just searing yourself. You'll be fine, and you're not going to be a steak or anything like that. After that, this is one of my guilty pleasures, is this style of heater, and I have one of these also. And I just like it because, I wish I could have a wood-burning stove, but I can't. By just the locations that I have, they're just not rated for a wood-burning stove. So I kind of get the ambiance of one. You don't have to also, if you want to just run the heater, you can run the heater. You don't have to turn on the fireplace part of it. But if you do, it's nice. It's a little more expensive. I get it. It's $250. That's 14% off. It's not for everybody, okay? But you know what? I like that crack. I get the crackling flame going that's off in the corner, and it just kind of sounds nice, feels good, makes you, subconsciously feel warm even before the heat hits you. But at the end of the day, I should be honest though, it's just another one of these infrared heaters. You can see here, it's built into the system. It's up here at the top. So really just the top part of that is the actual heater. The rest of this is just for looks. But you know what? It looks good. And then this is an old classic, all right? And I've seen these and I've had these. They're good for knock-around heaters. Now, these are not infrared. They actually heat up little coils on the inside. They're not quite as safe as some of the other ones. I don't like to recommend them, but the old guys, they're always like, oh, this is the heater. I want one of these heaters. I had one of these for years, blah, blah. I get it. They're metal case. You can kick them around. They should be okay. They should have tip over protection. I don't think they're going to have all the features you're going to see in the newer stuff. But also you're looking at a price of $35.80. But here's the other part. Let's be honest. It's got 1,500 watts just like everybody else. Now, is it going to put out as much heat though? I don't know because, the fan in there is smaller. It hasn't had a redesign in probably 60 years or something like that. They've been making this style since probably before I was born. So anyway, for those of you guys out there who still, tried and true the old ways, maybe this is the heater for you. Now, let's talk garage heaters, because that's another, this is a heater that often gets used in garages. So let's talk about other garage heaters. This is a standard 24 or 240 volt heater, 10,000 watt. This will put out a ton of heat. It'll heat quickly. It'll heat efficiently because it's using all that power. 12-hour timer, ideal for garage and workshop. Not something you're going to use inside, all right? Or I should say in the house. But the price there, $235. You got to Got to pay attention to that. And you're going to have to be wired for 240, because if you have to bring an electrician in to wire 240, that's really going to up the cost, okay? And make sure you check out your circuits you're running on before you plug any of these heaters on. You don't want to be tripping any breakers or anything like that. Here's another heater that I have. Bought it with my own money, the Mr. Heater 125,000 BTU forced air propane heater, aka the old jet style heater. This thing will pump out the power. Now, it'll use an entire tank of propane in I think it's like 12 hours, something like that. So you're factor in the cost of buying propane with this. Here's the other thing. Do not use these in an enclosed environment without ventilation, all right? There is exhaust from this, and people every year get hurt. I see headlines every year. Some family, they can't pay the electrical or something, or somebody brings in an extra heater, and they bring in one of these heaters, or one of those ones that screw on the propane tank, has the Mickey Mouse heater ears on it. And unfortunately, a week later, the family's looking for them, and they wind up where. So don't be that news headline. I'd really appreciate it if you were just safe about it. Make sure you got a place that's got a good draft, good ventilation if you're going to use something like this in an enclosed environment. But that said, they put out a ton of heat, all right? Now, another option, people always go, well, what about the Mr. Heater Buddy thing? So we got one of those here. Not every Mr. Heater Buddy is indoor safe. And that's what a lot of people say, is they're like, well, just get the Mr. Heater Buddy, it's indoor safe. They have a whole line of these things, and not all of them are indoor safe. Make sure it says indoor safe on the one that you're purchasing if you want to go that way. Now, these use the little green propane canisters. For the other stuff, you're going to get the big propane, okay? One of the problems with this that people who are fans of it, who don't want to admit, is the part of the exhaust function is condensation. So if you're using this in a camper or something like that, you better get a dehumidifier running as well, because otherwise everything's going to be coated in water. It's going to be dripping from the ceiling after 12 hours or something like that. So just be aware of that. Anyway, so there you go. If you got any questions about heaters, how to use them, best places, best practices and stuff like that, I mean, they're pretty dead simple. I will say this though, there's fewer and fewer of the smart features these days, especially you'll see it on stuff like this, the wall mounted stuff or the panel heaters, but you don't see it on like the tower heaters as much, because too many people will turn them on remotely, and somebody will have sat something next to it, a bag of chemicals or rags or something, and they were too much liability. So you see the smart heaters pulling away from the smart tower heaters, but you'll still see it in these wall heaters, because no one's going to hang towels on it, I hope, right? Anyway, we're all smarter than that. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Hope you stay warm, stay out of the cold. You all take care, God bless, and as always, shine on.